Welcome to Grace by Rain, a podcast about the beauty in life. I'm your host, Elaine Shircliff. Welcome back, everybody. We are in the home stretch for the regular season. There are 2 games left for the Griffins, Friday and Sunday. Friday against Milwaukee, Sunday against Cleveland. That's probably going to be a real barn burner. Those 2 teams hate each other. They hate each other. They really do not like each other this year. It has gotten progressively more aggressive as the season's gone on. And then we full steam ahead into playoffs, kind of. The Griffins have a bye week, so I'm not quite sure what this schedule will look like during playoffs. I'd like to go to the once a week again. I do know, though, that I will have all of August and part of September off because I really am going to need a break after the season is over. Also, I need to revamp this and make sure that I'm able to be consistent with it next season. I know a lot of stuff was thrown at me in the past like 2 years, but I like doing this podcast, and I know that there are a lot of people who like that I do look at the league and look at the teams this way. Which, speaking of the league, I get all the press releases still for, I don't know, like 25, 26 of the teams in the league. It might be more. It's not all of them, but it's most of them. I need to do something with it, right? Like I need to do something with them. So I'm going to find ways to integrate them into my coverage along with all the Olympic stuff. I'll be hopping in on those press conferences, especially with the youth mentorship programs they have and the Paralympics, because I think those are things that people don't talk enough about, and they do a lot of good work. So that's what this summer and next season will hold. But let's get to right now. So this is the beauty of the Grand Rapids Griffins, where I talk about one thing or 2 things I found beautiful from the week before that the Griffins did, their wives did, fans did, anything like that. Before we hop into that, though, I do want to talk about a few things in the AHL that I thought were beautiful, because it's a beautiful league and we should be talking about it. Sorry if you only like the NHL, because you're missing out. You're missing out if you only watch and like the NHL. So right off the bat, let's talk Tucson Roadrunners. Okay. They signed a lease extension at the Tucson Convention Center through 2027, 28 season. So this just adds an extra year to their agreement. I know that there are people who are like, Mama, Tucson, hockey doesn't belong in the South. Stop. The Tucson Roadrunners fan base is phenomenal. Losing them would be, I think that it would be a bit of a failure for the AHL if we keep moving teams out of the South. Losing San Antonio was rough. Those fans were diehard. They were great, and they are still looking for a team to root for. They loved the AHL. They breathed the AHL. They didn't care that it wasn't an NHL team. I love that about them. It's the same thing with Tucson, and the team is very involved in the city. They are immersed. They do a lot of good work down there, and we can't keep taking hockey out of Arizona because people don't want them there. I mean, Phoenix was a weird spot, you know. And San Antonio is in Texas, and that was also a weird thing with the ownership. But the city wants Tucson there, the fans want Tucson there, and they show up. So there's no reason for them to move at this point. I don't see the point in moving them. So really excited to see that they upped their lease for at least one more season. Now, as the season winds down, you'll see more partnerships kind of align for the next seasons. People will talk about what they've donated or programs that they did that they didn't necessarily talk about in season, which I wish more of them would because I would love to cover all of these teams like special events that they do in for charity. Because I think a lot of them do things, a lot of players do things, and they just don't talk about it. We'll get to that a little bit later in this episode. But those are the things that I think really make the AHL tick and special, especially in the minors, the things that you do within your city. The Ontario Reign announced a partnership with Rise Credit Union to support youth programs and expand financial education throughout Southern California for the rest of this season and all of the 2026-27 season. So through this partnership, Rise will host financial education discussions for participants in high school hockey programs and in-house leagues at local rinks. I really like this little caveat too as well. They will also have sessions for the Reign and the LA Kings staff. That's a huge thing. It is a huge thing because when you work in sports, sometimes money is thrown at you when you get higher up, or especially if you're an athlete, right? And you need to learn what to do, how to deal with that money. And then also when you work for a team, you don't always make a good amount of money. And you need to learn how to stretch a dollar and how to make your money work for you. And so I think that it's beautiful that this business is willing to partner with this minor league team and work with them on education for these kind of like financial education programs. Because financial literacy is very much a problem in this country. I wish I had learned more when I was in high school and grade school. We did a lot of the whole like, here's a fake checkbook, but there's a lot more to that, more than just balancing a checkbook and doing a small budget. Like people need to be taught to do things like a short-term budget, a long-term budget, how IRAs work, how your taxes work, all sorts of stuff like that. And we're just not taught that. And then we go out into the real world and a lot of people drown financially. So it's good to start that young, and it's good to get the team, the staff, to get that education as well. And I love it. I love it so much. Now, not only will they be doing this financial education, they will also be supporting local initiatives like the Rain's Wish for Wheels program, where they give bikes and helmets for local elementary school kids. They also have after-school road hockey programs. Love it. Now, at the end of March, the Iowa Wild announced that Cal Peterson, goaltender for their squad, had donated $12,859 to Des Moines Youth Hockey Association from the Goalies Give Back program that they have. Not only did he donate money, but he also donated his time. He hosted a used equipment drive to redistribute free gear to players. He also served as a guest instructor for little clinics for youth hockey, for floor hockey visits. And he always took time out of his post game to talk to little goalies and talk about his goalie training. So, I love it when players give back like that. I mean, we've talked about Brandon Halverson before and how he gives back too. It's beautiful that these players recognize that they're in this position and they wouldn't be without some of the help that they had. So they turn around and they invest it right back into the community. And I think that's what makes hockey so special. You see it in other sports. I see it a lot in basketball now. I mean, I've seen it with the Cavs. They were all over the city and they were going back and getting to their cities too. Um, but I feel like in hockey, it's so much all the time, especially lately. Like I hear story after story about players giving back to their community, to the community they play in, to other communities. I love it. I love it. It has this sense of like humility around um, their gift, but also thankfulness to the people that have paved the way for them as well. I also really love it when teams do unique drives, not just your food drive, not just like your clothing drive. Um, I, or like the teddy bear toss. I love it. There was a team this year that threw socks on the ice, and chef's kiss, love it. And now when there's collections, it's usually like money or food, clothing, that kind of thing. The Syracuse Crunch on April 12th, um, they had a drive to benefit the McMahon Ryan Child Advocacy Center in Syracuse, New York. So what they did is they collected donated baby wipes, baby bottles, and individually wrapped snacks and juice boxes. I I love that you're asking the fans to take care of their city in a different way, in a way that is often overlooked. Um, you know, Stuff like that can get really expensive for babies. And honestly, um, with baby wipes and baby bottles, sometimes you don't realize that you don't have any until you don't have any. And then, you're going to change a diaper and you're like, whoa, I need wipes, but they're not cheap anymore. They're expensive. We have a baby pantry at work, um, where I work, and when we buy stuff with the donations we get, I'm like, oh my goodness, like how does a family survive nowadays? Stuff is expensive. So it's really cool that the um, that the Crunch decided to take a different route on donations and working with a different type of group than most people normally work with. So I love that. I love it. I wish more teams would think outside the box and work with their community in that way. The Griffins have officially won 50 games this season. It is the first time since the 2005-2006 season in which they have accomplished this feat. This team, they just love to create history this year. And with that win, they improved to, all right, let's move on to the Grand Rapids Griffins. 23-0 when leading after the first period, and 34-0 when ahead after two frames. So, that's pretty great, to be honest. It used to be that if they scored first, they would just win. That hasn't happened in a little bit, but still a great record nonetheless. They are just getting history left and right, and they keep adding new players. And while they're not like on a total hot streak, they're finally able to kind of work through these things now, which is great because you don't want them working um, through things during the playoffs, because everyone is going to bring their best. Everyone's going to bring their A game in the playoffs to begin with, but they're going to do it against Grand Rapids because they want to be the team that knocks the red hot Grand Rapids out of the playoffs. So it's not going to be an easy run this playoffs. Not at all. Not at all. All right, so what did I find beautiful about the past few weeks in Grand Rapids Griffins land? Well, there's a few things. Let's start with Wojciech Stachowiak. I think that's how you say his first name. I only ever hear his last name being said. So If anyone knows how to say it, please let me know. I haven't been around him to ask him how to say his name. So in the comments, please let me know that I say his first name. But Stachowiak was traded to the Griffins on March 12th. He didn't play right away. He had a bit of an injury, and so he sat for a little bit, and then he got better, and he came out swinging. And I don't mean with his fists, I mean with his scoring. From March 26th to April 4th, he was on a 5-game point streak where he scored 11 points. 11. He plays so well with Edwards Trailmax. Right from the jump, Edwards Trailmax, and Jakub Rakowski, they played phenomenal together. They had moved Jakub around a little bit, and Stachowiak has also, had some power play time and played with a few other guys, and he just slotted in. I don't know what it was, why it didn't work in Tampa Bay and Syracuse with the Syracuse Crunch. I don't know why it didn't work, but I'm glad it didn't because he's so fun to watch and so fun to cover. He elevates his line mates to the next level. There's no secret that Edwards Tramax was struggling once he got back from the Olympics. He just didn't have that same pep in his step. He didn't have that same like motor towards the net. He was a little off, right? Playing with Stachowiak, I think it just like renewed his sense of hockey. That's weird to say, but I feel like it invigorated him again. And it's been so fun to watch them together. And he just fits so well on the team. The way he draws up a play, the way he can distract people, the way he can finish, the way he can move a play. Oh, you know what's even better? I noticed this too. Since he and Edwards started playing together more, the defensive side of Edwards' game has gone up. Hits have gone up. Poke checks, keeping things in the zone have gone up. Wonderful. And I will say too, as a team, as a whole, the zone entries and exits have been even better since Stachowiak entered the team. And I don't know if it's like something that the team had been working on. Well, I hope they were working on it because they weren't always the best. But I don't know if it's something that they've really been beating into them, is what I mean. Or if people are looking at the way he does zone entries and exits and go, oh, let's do that. Because I have noticed with the Griffins, if somebody sees something that they like that another player does, I've noticed that they start to add that to their toolbox as well. This team, in my opinion, is quite well-rounded. They are becoming these well-rounded players that are going to be able to succeed at the NHL level eventually. By having not just these veterans, but young guys too, who have special skills. They're all taking from each other and going, oh, I like that. That fits my game. Oh, I like that. That fits my game. Or, oh, he does that really well, and my skill can complement that. So how do I hone my skill to be complementary even more and have us be successful? And you see how their brains are working throughout the season. And when you inject guys like Stachowiak into the lineup, it makes it even more fun because they're like, ooh, and they just start emulating certain things that need to be done, like making sure the puck doesn't leave the zone. All right, so There are a lot of kids, a lot of children in this locker room now. And I do not mean people, literal kids. I mean, the youth have arrived. The youth revolution is here. Um, they added six players, six of them, six. That's a lot to add to an already hot roster, and I'm actually pretty surprised that the Griffins aren't like falling apart with all the new voices and faces. They still seem to have good communication. They still seem to like each other. um, there's still that like familial kind of like atmosphere on the team, and they don't seem to be struggling with these new guys slotting in. It is weird to see some players like not playing who were really well this season to give these guys playing time, but they have to have regular season playing time because you can't just throw them out there in the middle of playoffs. Like that's not fair to the team, it's not fair to the player. We don't do that here in Grand Rapids. So who are the new guys, you ask? Well, for starters, Trey Augustine. He is Michigan State's former starting goalie. A lot of people have been obsessing over him. I saw him play not in person. I was sick that night. So if you want to see his interview, go to Hockey Town West podcast, and they will have talked about him and shared his interview on their socials. But from what I saw on the television, is he's gonna do fine. I don't know if he's gonna slot right into a role up in the NHL like a lot of people wanted him to do immediately. That's not how goaltending usually works. There's a little bit more of a development time for goaltenders. You don't just like throw them into the wild like that. Um, so he's here. Chris Draper's son, Keenan Draper, who is from the University of Michigan. He played on April 13th. I thought he did a good job. I don't know much about him. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know much about um, prospects for hockey because there's so many places you can look for hockey prospects across the world. So I just don't have that time. I know it feels bad, but I depend on people who watch a lot of these games to tell me how these players play before they get here and where they might slot in. So just remember, you don't have to know it all, everyone. Don't let anyone trick you into thinking you do. Then there's Eddie Genborg, who is the sweetest thing. He is from Sweden. He already has 2 points in 9 games. He had his first AHL goal against Manitoba on April 4th. Gosh, this kid's so sweet. He reminds me of Kimi Antonelli from Mercedes F1, Formula One. He is very funny, very sweet. He has so much joy. The amount of joy he has for this sport, I don't. I thought I've seen anything like it from a hockey player, but this is just different. He it's just so genuine, so much joy. Win, lose, play good, play bad. Just I love it, and it reminds me of how Kimi Antonelli was in his first season of F1, where he had so much joy. He was a little bit quiet to a point, but was funny. He made everyone feel comfortable in at Mercedes, and I feel like Eddie does the same thing here in Grand Rapids. So it's very fun to watch him play. It's very fun to interview him. Very good guy. The future is very bright, I feel like, with this one. um, Anton Johansson. returned to North America. He was playing over in Sweden as well, and he also scored his first AHL goal on April 4th against Manitoba. He was here last season during the playoffs. I enjoyed watching him then. I wish he would have been able to stay. This for the whole season, he would have been a lovely, lovely addition all season, but alas, he had to go back. So we only have gotten him towards the end of the years, and he still does well. I'm curious to see how he does during the playoffs. I think that's where we're going to see him shine now that he's adjusted to being back here. Dylan James is from North Dakota. He signed an ATO by Grand Rapids on April 12th, and he almost scored the other night on Wednesday. Rude, very rude of Cal Peterson to not let him score. He looked good. He slotted in so well with the other players. I was actually surprised how well he did. And so I'm very excited to see where the rest of this season and the rest of the playoffs take him. And if he comes into camp and comes into the season good, I'm actually really pumped about this one too. The other one I'm pumped about is Jussi Kiskinen from Finland. Oh gosh, this kid, so good. He already had his first assist against Rockford in his debut. Such a lovely child. I will say this. One of the tougher parts about covering hockey is the language barrier sometimes. And not all writers are patient with the players, and not all players are patient with the writers, right? Kiskinen was so patient with me while I tried to find the right words that he would understand. I used adjustment. He didn't understand that word. We didn't understand adapt. And I know that there are people who want to know why I didn't use the word change. And that's because earlier this season, I asked someone and they didn't understand what the word change meant. So you have to just kind of feel out and on the fly recraft your question. And luckily for me, Kiskinen was very, very, very kind while I tried to recraft my question on the fly. And I am so appreciative of it. And then he gave a really good answer. Sometimes people give really cookie cutter answers, and I'm like, oh, please don't waste my time. Don't waste your time. Don't waste my time. Don't do this. And it's rare that we get that out of the Griffins, but it was great that he was able to give me a really thoughtful answer. And he even paused a few times to make sure he was using the right words that would translate the language barrier. Good on him. I think he's going to thrive in a professional setting just on that alone, on his ability to adapt to what's being thrown at him on the fly. He got moved up to the first line from the third line in the middle of the game because he was playing so well. He should have had a goal. Let's put it that way. He should have had a goal, and they took it away over a BS tripping call. I haven't talked about the refs much this season because this podcast is supposed to be about the beauty and life, and there's been a lot of not so beautiful things that have happened involving the refs this year. So he didn't get his first pro goal, and I know he's hungry for it, and he's been trying. He's been trying for it. But he hasn't been trying for it in a way that hurts the team. He is not going to shoot if he doesn't have an opening lane. He has no problem passing. He also has speed. Whoever found this kid, and whoever found like Eddie Genborg and whoever found Dylan James, keep it up. Keep it up because these guys are good. These guys are hard workers and they have finesse. They can adapt on the fly, especially Kiskinen. And that is very, very important to this sport. In hockey, you have to be able to adjust on the fly. You can't just sit on your laurels. You have to be able to adjust. And that's what he was able to do. And I love it. So I'm very excited about the youth revolution we have going on here in Grand Rapids. It's going to make the rest of the season fun. And honestly, I think I would even trust a lot of these kids to just go into the playoffs and make a run for it. The Griffins are going to have a very precarious problem trying to craft a roster. I do not envy Dan Watson having to craft a roster right now, a lineup right now, because these guys all have talent. But there's also guys coming down who have talent. Dominic Shine's back. He is the heart and soul of this team. Where are you putting everyone? Where are you putting everyone? It is to the point now where I'm pretty sure that Dan could do a different lineup, a dramatically different lineup every night during the playoffs, which could be an advantage. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. The next thing that I found beautiful has to do with the vulnerability of Jenn Watson, who is Austin Watson's wife. Before we hop into that, though, I have to say, not having Mr. Chitter Chatterbox Austin Watson in his stall on Saturday night was absolutely unnerving. Okay. Bran and I from Hockeytown West were talking after the game about how much we absolutely enjoy hearing Austin Watson chat with his girls and other players, or honestly, our favorite is when he interjects his thoughts and commentary while we're doing interviews. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, we love it. So I asked the PR guy, Andrew, if we could just at least have a recording of him running behind us when we're doing interviews if he's not in the locker room. So think about it. Think about it. All right. So on to the main point, though. The vulnerability of Jenn Watson, his wife. On TikTok, she did a get ready with me / get to know me. And just right off the bat, she said something I really loved, that something along the lines of how she feels like people need to know who they're following on social media. And I 1,000% agree. How many times have we like followed someone and then we were duped? We're like, oh, you're not that person, or we didn't know much about them, and they weren't really who they said they were, right? I love it when people are raw and honest about who they are, about their past, about their future, like what they want from their future and their present. I try to do that to the best of my ability here on this podcast. Is you guys have seen time and time again. I think I've cried a few times over the past 6 seasons. But she got so deep and vulnerable about her past. I love that she was able to feel comfortable enough to show people who she was, who she's trying to be, and who she's become. She didn't make excuses either about her past, and she really embraced the things that happened to her in the past, because that's how she felt made her to be who she is today. It led her on the path to this life that she loves having. And honestly, like that is the best part about life is that you can never stop growing until the day you die. Um, she dove into her drug addiction and her time in rehab. Um, she talked about it with grace. Um, Everything she talked about. It was grace to herself, grace to Austin, and grace to those whom she's harmed in the past and people who have harmed her. Um, I think it is a beautiful testament of redemption and forgiveness. And if you have TikTok, I think that you should go check her out because I don't know, I thought it was beautiful. Now, what was equally beautiful for me and this is right after I watched the TikTok when she dropped him, um, Pope Leo, I'm Catholic. In case you guys are new here, I'm Catholic. I work for a Catholic church now. Um, but Pope Leo's homily that day, he was on his apostolic journey to Algeria, Cameroon, Angola, and Equatorial Guinea. And in one of his homilies that day, he said, "Can we truly start our lives over again? Yes." The Lord's response, so full of love, fills our hearts with hope. No matter how weighed down we are by pain or sin, the crucified one carries all these burdens with us and for us. No matter how discouraged we are by our own weaknesses, it is precisely then that God manifests his strength, the God who has raised Christ from the dead in order to give life to the world. Each one of us can experience the freedom of new life that comes from faith in the Redeemer. So let's marinate on that for just one moment. The timing of this was absolutely beautiful. Her TikToks and Pope Leo's homily are a reminder of redemption even at our darkest hour, which provides an abundance of hope for so many. Okay. This podcast is called Graced by Rain. There's many reasons why, but one of the main ones is that rain that pours down on our life can provide us beauty in so many ways. And so we are graced by the hardships that come in our life and how we can use them to benefit and uplift us and get us on the right path. And I love the timing of that. Um, I think it's beautiful, right? Like the way things line up in life like that. And like I said, the way that Jenn was so open about her redemption, um, even at her darkest hours, and the way that she gave advice to people, I was dying of laughter when she said that she met Austin in rehab. And then immediately, without a thought, she goes, "I'm not saying you should meet your husband in rehab." Like it was so perfect. It was so human. I loved it. Um, but so if we could all just be a little bit vulnerable, I think this world would be a little bit better of a place because we would be able to truly understand one another to a point. But this also shows her that you need to know yourself. She knows who she is. She knows her flaws and she embraces them. And she also knows her talents. She knows what she's good at. She knows the beauty in her life and the beauty of what makes her her. And she embraces that. I love that. She openly embraces her flaws and her beauty marks. And she ends up turning her flaws into something beautiful that way. Um, and I love that. I wish more people could be open about that. I wish more people would be comfortable going down a path of redemption and being honest about it the way that she is. And it's not easy. It is hard. It's hard. Um, and she doesn't say that it's easy. But she is showing what good it can do for you and your physical, mental, and spiritual health. And I love that. And that's one of the reasons why I love this team is the women as a whole are just so open about who they are. they they just they embrace who they are. So they embrace who their husbands are and they embrace that career. And I think that also is helping the team be successful because they have wives who embrace who they are, who embrace who the team is, who embrace who the players are. They just embrace the uniqueness of each individual that they meet. And that in itself is probably the most beautiful thing about this team. All right, so our final thing that I found beautiful with this team is it's award season. So awards are coming out, and each team has to name a winner of their Man of the Year. And then that goes into being in the running for the Yannick Dupree Memorial Award, honoring the overall AHL Man of the Year. Yannick Dupree, if you don't know, he is a former Hershey Bear. He died in 1997 following a 16-month battle with leukemia. And so he had done a few things though leading into that time with service work and being involved in the community. So it was a big loss for that community. So I love that they have this award named after him and that they have each team kind of pick a man of the year because like I said earlier, a lot of the teams do a lot of cool stuff. A lot of the players do a lot of cool things and we don't really hear about it all the time, which is crazy pants to me. Like I want to report on this. I want to show people the beautiful side of this sport. Come on. But for the Griffins, that person is Amadeus Lombardi. I think it's a beautiful choice. Oh, Hockey Town West and I, we love Amo. He is such a kind, genuine person. I mean, we are so privileged and lucky to cover him. He's always open with us, gives us the best interviews. If you haven't watched Hockey Town West, you need to find all the interviews they've done with Amo. I mean, literally, I think the first one they did was when he was with Flint. And then they've done one with him every summer in the off season. And it's like watching the little kid grow up. It's kind of like that Billie Eilish. If you've ever seen it, I think it was Vanity Fair, maybe, they interviewed her every year as she's grown up since she was like 16. And I love when people get that relationship with someone they cover. So you get a little bit more fun facts and learn a little bit more about them. But Amo is just such a genuine person and he's kind and he has a soft heart. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like his heart for his family and for the community and how he is, like it's very soft. Like there is no harshness or hardness in there. And it makes talking to him about those things fun. Okay. I knew about some of the things he had done, like going out and helping with like the Griffin's Youth Foundation. I know he had a blast at the sled hockey game. And I know he was at like Tippegriff and everyone loves seeing him at the Great Skate Winterfest. However, I did not know, and I think this is so cool. And I do understand why they maybe don't talk about it and put it out there in the public as much when it's happening, because of privacy reasons for the families in the hospitals. But I love that three times, he has been on the Helen DeVos Children's Hospital's in-house TV show to play games with patients. And then he would go on and visit patients and their families um, in their room. And oh my gosh, that first of all, it's so ammo. I love watching him with kids. He's so great with the kids. I mean, we've talked about Austin Watson, right? Austin with Ammo and Austin's kids. It's like a little family. And then I've seen him with like Louis Lageson, William's kid. He's such a family dude, right? Um, and it and you can tell that he is a family guy based on how he is with the team. He treats them as family. Actually, this whole team treats each other as family, and I love it. Um, but I can only imagine what that was like at the hospital with all the kids and their parents. Like, I bet it was the greatest day of those kids' lives at that point because I know that he probably made them um feel like they were the most important person in the room at that moment. Um, and I love that he does this with them. I wish, like I said, I wish we had been able to see it, but I totally get it because, you know, it's a tough time when you're a kid in the hospital and um, you don't want to be seen as some sort of like prop, as some sort of like show pony, right? So I do love that he did this without the cameras, without us knowing. Um, Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, so I can't I like when it comes to Amadeus Lombardi, I can't wait to see where life takes him because I think even outside of hockey, he's going to be just fine. He's going to be just fine. I would love to see him in hockey forever because he is such a great um asset to the league and to the sport. He's a great ambassador. So we're really excited to see where his life takes him. All right, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. There will be one that comes a few days from now. We're gonna try and get back on some sort of figure this out for playoffs. We'll figure it out. Um, yeah. So I love you all. Thank you for joining me. And remember, be kind and love always. My theme music is One Light by Nick Wilkinson and the Featured Players. You can find their latest album, Live Volume 1, on Bandcamp and Spotify. Live Volume 1 was recorded in front of a live audience on May 26, 2017, at Jilly's Music Room in Akron, Ohio.